So this is what we were looking at, but right now we're actually going to get to what we were trying to get to. This is actually what the examples are going to look like. So this was just to get you used to finding the opposite, adjacent, and hypotenuse based on the angle of focus. But right now is what we're actually looking for. So trig ratios. I almost always write an N after ratio for some reason. T-I-O and then N. My hand just does it. Okay, so the first trig ratio is defined by the word sine. That's how you say it, but you write it like this, S-I-N. Don't say sin, because I'll respect you less, because that's not how you say it. I'm just kidding. It's not sin. It's sine. It's pronounced sine. If you say sin, you will be saying it wrong. That's kind of funny. So sine of something, that's how you're going to say it. Sine of something equals, and we're going to have the opposite side over the hypotenuse. These are the definitions of sine, of cosine, and tangent. Sine, cosine, don't say cos. Cosine, 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 cosine. That's going to be the adjacent side over the hypotenuse, and the tangent is defined by the ratio, first, tangent of some angle equals opposite over adjacent. And there's an easy way to remember this, and I will point it out, but for right now, just write that down, and then we'll go on to the actual example, except for in here, in these little blank spaces. That's where the angle of focus is going to go. So it's telling you what angles to focus on. So the angle of focus will go here. So it'll be like sine of some angle, and then you can figure stuff out. Or cosine of some angle, and then you figure some stuff out. Eventually we'll be going backwards and figuring out angles as well, but for right now, this is what we're looking at. Let's look at example 2. I'll keep that there so you can still, right?
I recall when I was in Montana, and it was like...
Example 2. So what I want you to do is draw this triangle. Draw this triangle that I'm going to draw. It's a right triangle, or it's supposed to be a right triangle. A is the top vertex, B is the right angle, C is the right vertex. And then we're going to have 36 on the bottom side, 36 units long, 27 units long on the top left side, and then 45 on the hypotenuse. And the instructions offer you to find sine of angle C. That's how you read this. Sine of C. You just gotta figure it out. And then reduce a fraction. That's all we're doing. So if we look at this, sine of C, well, sine is opposite side over hypotenuse. The angle of focus is C, so opposite would be 27. And hypotenuse would be 45. And you can reduce by 9. So that would be 3 over 5. So sine of C equals 3 over 5. It's that's all you do. That's all you do. That's all you do. Let's look at one more, and then I'll show you how to remember this. So part B I'm going to say find the tangent of A. Sometimes you have parentheses, sometimes you don't, but I'm going to put the parentheses this time. So that means tangent of A. That's how you say that in English. That's how you say this in English. For the tangent of A, tangent is opposite over adjacent. So we changed our angle of focus, tangent of A. So A, the opposite would be 36. The adjacent would be 27. And then divide by 9, and you get 4 over 3. I want you to leave them as a fraction here. So the last thing that I want to say is how to remember all of this. Sine is opposite over hypotenuse, cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse, and tangent is opposite over adjacent. SOHCAHTOA. Has anyone ever heard of that? I thought, so I had a geometry class in high school, and then I got switched out into a different class, and the new class was further ahead than the old class. And the teacher, his name was Coach Degnan, he wrote a problem on the board, and he turned around and he said, SOHCAHTOA. And I didn't know what he was talking about. And I was like, what? I thought it was like a Native American thing. Like, I don't, what is that? And then I learned later on. But SOHCAHTOA, I used to write this on every single test, like in geometry and trigonometry, when you use this a lot. Sine, the S is for sine, is the opposite over hypotenuse. Cosine is the adjacent over the hypotenuse. And tangent is the opposite over the adjacent. So, I mean, that's just a way to remember it. SOHCAHTOA. You could write that on everything. The way it sounds, I feel like, makes it easy to remember. SOHCAHTOA. And I'll be saying it over and over again so that you'll remember.